Episode 3 Shimmerwood. Our boys had just left Kingskeep, the capital city of Krona, after having met Gorag in Ace's alehouse. After a drunken night of heavy drinking and singing, the boys accidentally told Gorag who they really were, and made a deal in exchange for Gorag's silence. He'd be able to set up his alehouse in Shimmerwood after the curse had been lifted. But before that, the boys were yet to reach their home. The journey had been long. The warm oranges were slowly losing colour the further north they went. Dark greens took over. Grey clouds filled the skies, and it rained far more often than anywhere else on their travels. But the most noticeable difference between here and where they started was the temperature. Back in Crystalry, it was hot, almost unbearable. In Kingskeep, it was humid and heavy. But here, in the north, at the peak of midday, it was enough to cause a shiver and cover them in goosebumps. They found themselves with their hoods up for most of the time now. They would immediately crouch by the fire whenever they set up camp or found an inn. Cornell had suggested that they avoid major towns or villages, even here in Yord, as they had no idea who their enemies were. After nearly a month of travelling, the gods' road ahead of them suddenly came to a crossroads. To their left, a sign read Small Guard. Ahead, a sign read White Hollow. And to their right, the most joyful sign of all, Shimmerwood. Oh, my lords, here we are. Only 15 minutes, and we'll be in sight of Garrick Castle, home of your family, and, of course, yourselves. This is it. Onwards, Cornell. Take us home. Gladly, my lord. Cornell pulls the reins right, and the cart turns gently, off the smooth God's Road, onto a loose gravel path, heading deep into a forest. The trees surrounding them were thick but short, many of them covered in shiny vines that climbed their trunks. Are these Shimmerwood trees? No, Shimmerwood trees grow in the forest behind your town, to the east. This is the glass ivy forest, named after those ivies you see there on the bark of the trees. And the trees are Rushton trees. I'd love to give you a tour of the village around your town, but I'll leave that to your uncle. It'd be a good chance for him to reconnect with you while showing you. That's considerate of you, Cornell. Thank you. We appreciate that. I just can't believe how close we are so suddenly. Oh, you'll enjoy Shimmerwood, sire. It's a beautiful town. As they chat, the path leads to a stone bridge, 12 foot over a fast-moving river, known as the River Pike. The bridge turns back into a gravel path, and no less than 30 feet away, it leads to the main gate of Shimmerwood. The 20-foot-high walls are reinforced with strong timbers, presumably made out of Shimmerwood. Creeping out from behind the walls sits Garrick Castle atop a hill. Its flag of a tree with 3 stars above it flies high, embracing the wind, waving the twins home. Now that is the most beautiful thing I've seen yet. They pass over the bridge, and as they do, the noise of the wheels on the stone seems to awake a guard sitting in the gatehouse, overlooking the entrance. He jumps up and stares shocked at everyone. Should we call up? Hello, young man. Fine day. I have a delivery here for the steward. May I speak with him? The young man looks straight at them, still with his mouth ajar with shock. Well, please let us in and chase off this chill. It's quite cold out here. One moment. The man rushes inside, and after a brief pause, the gate starts to crank open. Well then, my lords, I'll be departing you now. I wish you all the best in your future. You're leaving us already? No offence, my lord, but I'd rather avoid the curse that lies here. Allegedly. Let him go, Tanner. We understand, Cornell. Thank you for your services. Yeah, thank you, Cornell. All the best. As Cornell turns his empty cart around and heads off, the boys watch the gate slowly reach the top. They take a deep breath each, taking a moment to look at the gate, the streets and the buildings ahead, hoping for something to trigger in their memories, but nothing. So now, they start to walk into their childhood home. As they take a few steps in, the young man who was atop the wall is now in their path, holding a spear in one hand, clutching his belt with the other. Halt, state your name and your intentions, sirs. Tanner raises an eyebrow before nodding in approval. All right. I'm Tanner Garrick, and this is my brother, Cal Garrick. We intend to go home. That is all, sir. The guard nods heavily, almost tearing up. Welcome home, my lords. Follow me if you would. The twins look at each other, Cal winking at Tanner, and they follow the guard up the street into the town. What's your name, sir? I'm Marshal Withers, my lord. Ah, you're Marshal. You're Auntie Walena's son then, aren't you? Correct, sire. How did you know? Uncle Derwin wrote letters to me, keeping us updated with things here when he could. And you're our cousin. You're the first member of family we've ever seen, since we were 4. They pause for a moment as Tanner extends a hand out to his cousin. Marshall looks at him and pushes his hand aside and pulls him in for a hug. Tanner, I have missed you, mate. I really have, and you too, Cal. Come here. I used to look after you two back in the day. I was only 10 when they took you away. Come on, everyone will be dying to meet you. Because of the curse, or... Forgive my brother, he's the cheeky one. Aye, you've not changed, you two. Come on. Marshall leads them through the town up the main street, signposted as Winter Walk. They approach the main square, empty, all but for a statue in the centre. Wow, this town really is, well, dead. Aye, it's true, my lords. Everyone will be having breakfast in the feast hall. Everyone? Yes, my lord. There's really not many of us, you see. I can imagine. Marshall goes straight ahead through the square, to another street signposted Market Row. All along their right-hand side is a huge open space, filled with empty market stalls and a large building in the centre. As the path starts to bend slightly to their left, they come to the end of the market stalls and are greeted with a still functioning fountain. The path meets another path coming in from the right, and widens to the front doors of Garrick Castle. It's a 2-storied castle, with a guard tower on the southwest and the northeast corner. They enter into a small foyer with a door to the left and a door to the right. Marshall takes them through the right door, opening to a corridor with nothing but columns on the left side, opening to a large courtyard with columns all the way around, except the east wall. It's a very open plan. I like it. Marshall takes them to a door ahead that opens into a small room with armchairs and potted plants. Marshall, what's this room? Oh, this is just the waiting area. The next room is the main hall. Marshall opens the double doors to a large, well-lit room, large timbers supporting the ceiling. Ahead of them, against the east wall, is a stage, with a large table and a number of seats. In the centre is a large, dark chair with intricate carvings on it. Ooh, is that our throne? We're not kings, Tanner. We're just lords. Besides, there's only one throne in here and there's 2 of us. My lords. This way. Of course, sorry, yes. Let's continue. He takes the twins up to the north end of the room, with 2 doors spaced apart. One door, almost as tall as the ceiling, and the other door just behind the side of the stage. The door on the right is one of the entrances to the kitchens. This rather large door here, however, is the door to the feast hall. Shall I introduce you? Oh, yes, I suppose you should. How very formal. And pretentious. Come on, we're lords now. As they are saying this, Marshall had entered the feast hall and clears his throat to attract everyone's attention. Ladies and gentlemen of Shimmerwood, I am proud to introduce 2 young men who have travelled an awful long way to meet you all and to return to their home from which they were unlawfully removed. Please welcome Cal and Tanner Garrick. The twins appear either side of the door and step forward, met with a small group of people who all stand up. The adult members of the group come rushing over, most notably a woman who is already crying. She grabs them both and squeezes them tremendously. Oh, my sweet, sweet nephews! My lords, this is Jaylene Robbins. She's your auntie. I'm your mum's sister. Goodness, you've still got baby faces. Come here, children. Meet your cousins. This is Alyssa. She's the eldest of the lot. Pleased to meet you, Alyssa. This is Palmyra. She's next. She reminds me of you when you were young, Cal. She's trouble. It's good to know someone held the torch for me while I was gone. Here, these are my 2 young boys, Grant and Byron. Very shy young things. And this is my lovely husband, Desmond Robbins. Pleased to see you again, boys. You look well. Thank you, sir, thank you. Oh, my lords, this is our Uncle Derwin. He's the steward of Shimmerwood. Not for much longer, I suspect. Boys, it's finally good to see you again. I'm sorry it took so long to get you out of there, but it's done at last. Welcome home. Did you meet the other brothers, Carver and Cyrus? No, not yet. Where are they? Marshall, go down and find them. I think they were strolling down the green walk. Marshall nods and hurries off. Derwin turns and starts to walk back to the table, and the twins both notice him limping heavily. Everyone takes their seats again and begins to tuck in. Well, come on, lads. Help yourselves. You must be starving. The twins made no contest of that and got stuck in. Over the next few hours, they get to know everyone, eventually meeting Carver and Cyrus, as well as meeting Pike, the Maine Coon cat, Quinn and Lovia, the two Carpathian shepherd dogs, and even Paxton the horse. After a good laugh, people start to get back to their jobs, and the table is occupied by just the twins and Uncle Derwin. So, Uncle, what does everyone do around here? Well, I'm the steward, or at least I was. We have 3 guards, Marshall, Carver and Cyrus. Marshall being their captain, I suppose. Desmond and his family run the farm just outside the walls. Oh, and that's us, really. The curse scared everyone off. But is it true, though? Oh yes, absolutely. People who visit tend not to wake up the next morning. If anyone does come here, they'll leave the same day. It was like that for a while, but people just stopped coming here altogether. There were even a few members of the family who left. Not because of the curse, mind you. What? Well then why? Because of the name. People hear the name Garrick, and they instantly think of what happened here. People were ashamed to live here, so they scattered. We remain, though. The ones who still have love for your father, and even for your mother. It wasn't entirely her fault. No, I suppose not. Listen, would you mind taking us on a tour of Shimmerwood and the surrounding neighbours? Well, I could, yes. But you'll have to walk slowly. This old battle wound has haunted me for years. Can't really walk too quick on it. We've waited 21 years, old man. We can wait another 21 years to walk with you. What a lovely, backhanded compliment, you cheeky little git. He laughs as he smacks Cal over the back of the head. So am I the cheeky one again? Oh, you'll have to do better than that to be cheekier than Palmyra. She's a very gifted young girl. She's only 15, but she knows far more than she should. Believe me. Come on then. I'll let Marshall know we're touring the villages. As the sun hits midday, the twins stand under the gates of Shimmerwood and breathe in the crisp northern breeze. Uncle Derwin approaches slowly with his crutch, accompanied by the 2 dogs, Quinn and Lovia. Right, lads, it's up to you where we start. We could turn right, taking us north to Star Lake, where lies Ivestead and Starglade Village. From there, it's a further walk to the mining village of Whitecliff, or we can turn left, going south to South Star Village. The choice is yours, boys. Where should we go first?